Hello, my name is Carrie Wood, and welcome to A Writer's Journey. I finished my manuscript. Now what? Well, you've come to the right place. We are so glad that you stopped by to check out our interview with Kirsten Hall, who is an author and the co founder of Fox Point Publishing. We decided to break up the interview into two segments as there is so much information to go over. I will be posting all of the questions and answers on my author website and blog at Carrie, K-A-R-I-L Wood.com. Now, in the first segment, Kirsten breaks down the 5 different types of publishing companies, what type of publisher Fox Point is, and how it got started, where and who can send manuscripts to them, as well as how Fox Point Publishing is different from other publishers that are out there. She goes over what they look for in a query, as well as the types of books that they represent. Kirsten talks about the average budget for a new book, as well as social media and how important it is to your new release. Lastly, in this clip, she talks about the importance of marketing your book. Inside the interview, Kirsten also fills us in on a few insider secrets. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and enjoy this first of a two-part segment on publishing. Hello, my name is Carrie Wood, and I'd like to welcome you to A Writer's Journey. We are excited today to have Kirsten Hall, who is not only an author, but she's also the co-founder of Fox Point Publishing. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, the behind the scenes, how it all works, and why publishing is so important. Because after all, part of a writer's journey is to help all of us fulfill our publishing dreams. So, Kirsten, she has a tremendous background in sales, photography. She actually, for 15 years, was a videographer doing weddings, so behind the scenes and taking all the pictures. Funny that now she's into publishing. So, not only is she an author, but the co founder of Fox Point Publishing, she's also been the ultimate female entrepreneur. So, Kirsten, welcome, and we're so glad that you're joining us today.
Well, thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm going to have to get a script from you about everything so I can put it elsewhere. But thank you so much for inviting me today, this afternoon, to A Writer's Journey and chatting with all of you. I got all 37 of your questions last night and I answered them. Of course, I haven't printed them off. So let's see if I remember the answers. It'll be fun.
Awesome. And then I'm also going to not only link this everywhere as well as you will, but I'm in my blog at Carrie L. Wood will also be the questions and answers to this interview as well, so that people can see the written part of it, because we all learn different ways. And then this way, if they wanted to print it out or what have you, they can do so and use it for future reference as well. So let's start off by talking about the different types of publishing that is out there. There's not just one type. Part of fulfilling a writer's journey and part of the group is getting us to our publishing dreams. And there are way more than one type of publisher out there. So you want to give us a quick rundown of what the different types are, Kirsten?
Okay. From what I know, you have your big five. Okay. And then the traditionals off of that. You have your hybrid, your boutique, your vanity, and self-publishing. I think those are it. Fox Point falls in. Oh, good. I got that first answer right. Yay. Anyway, a Fox Point falls in a hybrid, a full service hybrid kind of mix. The reason why is I'm an author and I know how authors feel. And so one of my current authors that we work with right now gave me the nicest compliment and said that Fox Point is a publishing company for authors, built by an author. Yeah, there you go. But things I ran into, I've been published since 2005, and I republished in 2015, took 10 years off to raise 4 little monkeys and tying their shoes and swimming lessons and riding bikes. And oh my gosh, there's a lot to it. So,
when you
2015,
well, when you first published, you did self-publishing, right?
yeah, yep.
So
And I did self-publishing.
why don't we start with self-publishing so you can tell us how that works?
Right. Well, when I first self-published in 2005, Amazon was maybe in its infancy. It was complicated, complicated computer files and excuse me, all of that stuff. It was a lot of interesting stuff. And then in order to get a decent price, you had to buy in bulk. You know, you couldn't do a print on demand. That did not exist back in 2005. So I was in the bridal industry at the time, and actually my first book is this one. I had to order like 1,000 copies to get them at $3 a piece. So the semi showed up outside of my house, and we opened up our screen door, and this guy came in. You know, it was a little pallet jack, you know, off the side of the semi. And I was standing there kind of horrified, like, oh my gosh, I hope this is going to work. And I blew like 3,000 plus sales plus shipping. My husband's looking at me like, this had better work. I'm like, yes, I know that. And so the guy loaded all the boxes into our living room, you know, thunk, thunk, thunk. Sign here, thank you very much, have a nice day, ma'am. And I'm sure he probably walked out the door laughing. Anyway, fortunately, like I said, I was in the bridal industry, and I had a lot of friends that ran tuxedo shops and dress shops and flowers and yada yada. So I did a lot of consignment stuff through them. I did eventually get it all done with, but I realized at that point what all was involved. You don't just write a book and then go, okay, I wrote a book. Who's going to come get it? You know, you. And so, and at that point, I was sitting there with, I had 4 kids between the ages of 11 and 3. So doing the full-time marketing and everything that went with that, and raising kids. And so that all we put that on the back burner. Then all my kids got taller than me and self-sufficient. And then I actually republished that book. I went back, retyped, cleaned it up a little more, put a new cover on it, the whole routine. And self-publishing for me, now I don't have a problem with that, with the self-publishing, and I understand the marketing, and I've been in sales for now 35 years. And I mean, I'm not afraid of it, and I can do that. There's a lot of work to it. Oh my gosh, is there a lot of work to it? I don't think people realize. And with sales, a lot of the times, of course, being cold sales, people slam the door on your foot and your nose and your forehead, and, you know, or take whatever they are given to, you know, check out or whatever. They don't even say thank you. And then they slam the door on your foot or your nose or your, yeah. So, yeah, so I republished this one in 2015, and I kept plugging along because my motto is I'm stubborn and stupid, so it works great. I don't give up. If I know it's going to work, god darn it, it's going to work, and I really don't care what people think. So there you go. In 2016, I put this one out. In 2018, I put this one out, and I will say, I'm supposed to November 2020. I'm supposed to put the 3rd one of that out, but you know, that's going to be more like a 2021 kind of thing. Anywho, I get busy. And then in 2019, I put this one out. And in 2020, just a couple months ago, I put that one out. But what I found is, okay, so for example, This book, especially with all the marketing and stuff that went into it, I put probably about $5,000 of marketing into this book, and it sold well, and it was great, and it was in like 400 stores and yada yada. But the problem is when book buyers look at the ISBN and it's tied into Bowker's and your name, they're like, oh, that's self-published. Yeah, cute book, but we don't carry I'm like, do you have any idea how much money is into this book? And they're like, yeah, corporate policy. I mean, I've heard so I thought, well, I'm just going to become a publisher. We'll just bypass all that monkey business. And yeah, it comes with different issues and different troubles and other things too, probably in a bigger magnified way. But of the people who knew me, people kept telling me over the years, well, you should help other writers, etc. And it's a lot of work. So I said, okay, we'll give it a whirl. And so here we are now, almost a year into our official being a publisher, although really we've been helping people for years. Yeah. And so I put everything that I do for myself and I just replicate it for all of our other authors. So you have very full service in that regard. Plus, I'm a neurotic perfectionist because there's no point in putting something out there in the world that is not good, because it comes right back to you and you're essentially building your brand. I mean, you're representing yourself. So don't do it half. Mm-mm. So 1,000%, 2,000%. So now I just replicate that for everyone else. I work with very talented, we've been blessed, seriously blessed, illustrators, editors, designers, marketing. We have some top-notch people and they understand. They're as neurotically perfectionist like I am. We work great together. But yeah, and they have, we keep them so busy, I guess is the best word for it, that the prices are fairly reasonable. Matter of fact, I know they're very reasonable. And as much as I would love to be a full traditional publisher and, give money here and there and everywhere and woohoo and have something down on Park Avenue or where they're all located, I haven't won the lottery yet. I'd love to if I could. I really would. I mean, I really, really would. I'm one of those people who can't just give one gift, but I give like one gift and a little gift and a little something in the Amazon gift card on top and a little bow and, fireworks. I mean, I would love to be able to give, but yeah, I'm still at that point where, I put my winter coat on the next season and I find a $5 bill in the pocket. I'm like, yay. And so we're ways from
So
being able to be a.
what is the difference between Fox Point Publishing, which is a hybrid press, versus a vanity press? What is a vanity press?
Okay. A vanity press will take anything that falls in the door. They will stroke your ego and tell you you're the greatest, fantastic, most best person on the planet, and your book is the next bestseller. And all they need to do is get that visa number from you right now. We can start you today on your publishing journey. It'll be great. It'll be fabulous. We'll have you on the top selling best out. What they do is they take your credit card number, and they truly will say, we'll make a book out of whatever you give us. The problem is it's usually not edited, it's not formatted correctly, the barcodes aren't on there, there's no printed retail price on there. It's a 90,000 barcode, which means it's nothing, and that is a big red flag for book buyers. They'll be like, oh, self-published, no thank you. And so you've already given 5, 7, 10. I've been hit with prices of 20,000. They're like, we'll get you on Twitter. I'm like, I'm already on Twitter. They're like, well, we'll get you a web page. I'm like, I have an entire website. They're like, well, we'll get you in magazines. I'm like, I'm already in magazines. I mean, and the lady finally said to me, she goes, well, apparently you don't need us. I'm like, you're right. Bye-bye now. See ya. But yeah, that's a vanity press. They'll take whatever you put, they'll slap it into a book form, put it into a binding. It will not be formatted, it will not be edited. It will look probably not that good. And it's still a self-published book. So yeah, that's a vanity press. Stay far, far away from them. Major players in this book industry game do have vanity presses because people fall for it. And so those major players figure, well, why don't we capitalize on it? And if people are willing to give us their Visa numbers, we're willing to take their money. And yeah, so do your homework. If as I tell people, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Read the invisible ink, the upside down ink, the fine print. Yeah, and don't be willing to give your Visa number so quickly away, because it's, yeah, if they're promising you the moon and the stars and unicorns and glitter, and
Then it
yeah.
probably is.
It probably is. Good old fairy tale. The other one, it would be a boutique. Now, I describe Fox Point as a boutique in the fact that we're very picky on who we work with. We do turn down manuscripts. They have to be marketable. They have to be, I have to be able to work with the author. We work with them so closely that, yeah, it's good if everyone gets along. And but boutiques typically they do one genre, they do one children, they do children, or they do mystery, and it's a very select small group of authors with a select small group of titles, etc. To me, I think of boutique as more of a, when you walk into a boutique, so I've kind of twisted the meaning of it in the literary sense, and rather than one genre or whatever, when I walk into a boutique, it's very perfect and it's appointed just right. And it's, it's not like walking into a mass box store retailer where, Lord knows what you're going to find in there. In my boutique mental bookstore, I find all of the books that we put our blood, sweat, and tears into, and that we are very proud to represent. So truthfully, in the literary sense, we are not technically a boutique publisher, but in my mind, we are. So there you go. It's my website, darn it. So yeah, the best way is saying we're a full service hybrid. All right, so we're not top 5, obviously. We're not even traditional, because I'm pretty still excited about finding a $5 bill in my winter coat from the season before. So we're not even close to that. We're a hybrid. We're not vanity. And what was the other one? Self-published. We're past that. And what was the other one?
Kind of a cross between hybrid and boutique. Traditional, what would you consider traditional publisher? Not the big 5, but traditional.
Well, traditional is the same thing as a big 5, but in a smaller sense. They're usually small to medium presses. They'll buy the manuscripts. Obviously, they're not going to dump $200,000 into your bank account. I don't even know if you would actually get that anymore with big 5s, but they'll do short runs for your books to begin with. And they'll probably sell you your book for any personal use at maybe a 40% discount, that kind of thing. But yeah, again, it goes back to the thing where, when I win the lottery, we'll move to the next department. But in the meantime, people that work with us can be assured that we have their back. We will do the best darn job, because I have always found that working with happy people is better than working with unhappy people. Yeah. And, it's just a matter of taking pride in your work, really.
Now, how would one find Fox Point Publishing?
Well, it's easy. It's foxpointpublishing.com. And of course, we have to be difficult. Well, it's because we're a boutique. We throw the E on there, so we're fancy. No. FOXPOINTE publishing.com. And that website's got, everything plus the kitchen sink on it. Yeah.
And I do have Kirsten's name at the bottom of her screen as well as her company. So if you're not sure of the spelling, it's right there. Yes. Very cool. And do you option more agent submitted or writer submitted manuscripts? What is your preference?
To date, we've only had from the authors themselves. I think for the fact that we are the new kids on the block, officially starting January 1st, although we were kind of doing this back into 2019. The best way to do it is foxpointqueries@gmail.com. And as I tell people, and I'm not really particular, just send me a couple samples of your work and your 30-second elevator speech. Quite frankly, I don't have the time to sit there and, I've seen people's full-blown query packages. It puts me to shame because I'm just like, just give me the facts, just, before I run out of here, and it's impressive, but I don't need the full, dissertation, for grad school. Just let me see a sample of your writing. And why would people want to read or buy? Why should they buy it? Why would they want to buy it? What's the hook? That's, keep it simple. That's usually the best way.
So when you're asking for a sample of their writing, you're asking for the first couple of chapters.
Yeah, first 1 or 2 chapters or whatever. Hook me as a reader. And really, and I should back it up. When it comes into foxpointqueries@gmail, I'm the one who's behind that email. However, when anything comes in, I send it to the acquisitions department. It's about 4 or 5 people. And they look at it. They're the ones that do more of the book production thing, whereas I am more of the publicity person, a slight bit of marketing in it. I send it off to them. And if they're like, yeah, this sounds good, I might snoop at it before I send a reply back, to see what I'm going to be working with in the future, because if I'm marketing it, I should know what it is. I just forgot the question. I'm sorry. There you go. I thought it was a good answer though.
About whether you take submissions just from writers or if you also take them from agents.
Yeah, whoever wants to send me anything at foxpointqueries@gmail.com, that is fine. Well, right there is a good example of how fast my mind moves. I can't even remember the darn question, and it was only 30 seconds ago. So it's gotta hook you. And so whether it comes in from an agent or a person or your grandkid or whoever, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Okay. And when you query Fox Point Publishing, is there a certain time limit or a certain time only that you accept queries, or do you accept them all year long?
We're in November and December right now, so we're accepting them now. And those books, those projects would be looking at, depending on how far along they are, the April, May, June, July kind of release dates, unless it's really out there where it needs a lot of work or the manuscript's not completely done yet or whatever the case may be. But we do, what is it? I think it's, hold on. I have to count. Hold on. Oh, please. November, December, and then March and April, and then July and August. There's 3 times of the year. And I haven't memorized them yet, but I do know, yeah, it's July and August, November and December, and I want to say it's March and April, I think. Somewhere in that department. Yeah. Okay. I haven't apparently memorized that answer.
Now, are you open to all genres, or is there only certain genres that you're open to?
Most genres, yes. my co-publisher, and I will point out my co-publisher is actually my daughter. Yeah, and one of these days when I retire, then this will all be her adventure. But anyway, and she is perfectionism in this industry. She's good. She's really good. And for such a perfectionist that I am, I would not be in business with her unless she had it together, and she definitely has it together. But she does not want, and I understand. Obviously, you can't. Well, I would not be comfortable with marketing, and we would not be comfortable with publishing a book that has like lots of purposefully mean violence and racism, and we're not it. You know, we're not all roses and cherries and happiness, because, you know, life is not always roses and cherries and happiness, but we're not going to go for mean, blatant, disrespectful, not our bag. So there you go. I don't think we would do, we have not been presented yet, but I don't think erotica would be our thing either. I mean, it can certainly put it in. I mean, if it's now I sound like one of those one of those things that actresses and actors use, you know, that you can, you know, and I can't remember the name of the contract, but, you know, you can do this, but you can't do this, but if it's part of the story, but whatever. If it's part of a meaningful story, then fine. But if it's pure in your face, you know, XXX erotica, you know, again, not our bag. And I don't know. I guess probably those two, but the one that Chelsea really came up with was forget the racism, you know, the sexism, you know. I mean, if it's part of the story, fine, but if it is purely driven to that, no. So otherwise, everything else, we've got fiction and nonfiction and memoirs, and we have a nonfiction historical about World War I and some counties down in Minnesota. So academic kind of stuff, hybrid between fiction and nonfiction, poetry. We've got a cookbook series starting in December. So pretty much everything. Yeah.
Including picture book, middle grade, YA. Well, I don't know what's going
Thank
on
you.
with my microphone. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, I can hear you fine. I think it could just be a connection thing too, with, you know, the satellites aren't linking or whatever.
Could be. So, how many manuscripts on an average do you think you turn away, and what are some reasons that you would turn away a manuscript besides
All right.
what we just mentioned?
This year so far, we've turned down 11 manuscripts. Some of them have been, well, some of them have just been plain unmarketable. And not that, okay, a couple of them, okay, sorry, getting carried away. Okay, unmarketable covers, you know, do we think it's done? You know, and when the author's like, oh, it's done, it's been done for 15 years, it's done, what do you think? It's like, it's not done. And they're like, well, no, it's done. Like, so, well, not done for us. So take you're done somewhere else. And then also, not done, or just we can't see it marketing. And what sometimes we will do if we're on the fence about something, we will put it out on Facebook or Twitter, just a broad idea. Hey, what do you think about a book like this or whatever? I need, you know, put a poll out. What do you think? Do you think you'd buy it? Is this something? And people are very open to giving their opinions as to whether something's going to fly or not, especially on social media. And really, those are our main level of buyers. You know, I mean, whether they're on social media or not, those people, especially if they're willing to give their 2 cents on books, my guess is they probably buy and read books. So I want to know. So we'll put that out there. And so, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of good ideas, but if it's not marketable or it's just not clicking, it's probably not going to happen. And then we need to get along with the authors. Like I said, we basically put a team of people together that works with each author and their project and get them through the process. If there's some kind of not working, put it this way, I've got history with our staff and they have proven themselves. And I will say, when we first started, to date, we've gone through probably 5 or 6 people that just couldn't keep up with the pace or didn't have so I mean, we have weeded out and gotten the best. Now, I am open to working with an author and helping them the best I can. And we're pretty laid back people. I mean, we do a good job, but we're laid back. But if something's not right, I'm going to defer to my crew of talented people and explain to the author that we need to, all play along in the big playground of life here. And typically, in the fact that I've been in sales for 35 years, I can pick up as to whether it's going to click or not. And so the weeding out process there. The one that stands out to me was last July. And he got on the phone with me and it was like, well, Kirsten, let me tell you, this is what this is. And I mean, whatever. And am I right? And you know, what I'm talking about, Kirsten. I mean, you're a good, I'm just like looking at the phone going, oh my gosh.
He was car selling you.
Yeah, all I could think was 1970s used car salesman with the gold chains and, use the person's name at least 10 times in 1 minute. Kirsten, do you know what I'm talking about? And what, yeah, I mean, I'm like, okay, well, we'll talk at you later and you have a lovely day. No, we did not accept his script. And he was also someone who gave off, and different things he said, basically God's gift to women. And being that we're a woman-owned company, and actually out of our 12 staff members, 11 of them are women, I'm going to guess that he would not do very well with us. So I just let him down gently and I said, thank you, but we are just so darn busy. And there you go.
So, what is the age of your youngest and your oldest authors that you currently represent?
Our youngest right now is Liam, and he lives in Marquette, Michigan. He is 15 years
Wow.
old. He has a trilogy, a sci-fi trilogy coming out. His first book will be out here in February. And yeah, he's a smart kid. He also, excuse me, he also does the editing for Wikipedia on different things. He's like a librarian kind of person who does that. And he has some different podcasts that he works with for Michigan Public Radio. I mean, he's a cool kid. I mean, he's got it together. So that's Liam. He's 15. And then our oldest person is 88. Her name is Carmen, and I believe you have her set up for your author of the month for what, December?
For November.
Is it? November, okay. Yeah, so Carmen Tribbett, she does, here, I'll show you. And I think I only have one of her books. No, I don't. I've got 2 of them. She does the Monster Dog book series, and then this one, and I actually even have, whoops, that one. That's all Carmen Tribbett. And her 4th book in this series will be out actually in about probably 2 weeks. So yeah, she is a busy woman. Yeah, she's 88. She'll be 89 next March.
Wow.
And she's already got the editing for her 5th book, which will be out at the beginning of 2021, just came in and it's getting started. So.
And that one is nonfiction?
Yeah, the fourth in the Monster Dog book series is another bedtime children's fiction coming out, the Monster Dog. But the fifth one, her fifth book, is actually a nonfiction caretakers book for people who have Alzheimer's in the family. And her husband, Ken, had Alzheimer's for 18 years before he passed away here, probably, I think, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And so, yeah, she is writing a book. Um, she's in all of her different things she's ever been. She's been a nurse. So she's got a whole lot of medical and advocating for the patient and all that. She understands that. That's something that she describes in the book. She's a teacher, has been a teacher, so she also understands how to explain things to people, not just, glaze over it. Um, yeah, she's been a mom, she's been a caretaker. So yeah, it's a fairly in-depth, complete book at what to expect. And it's not really written as like a manual you get at the hospital about, here, read this pamphlet. This is, it is a true in-depth explanation of what to expect, especially as a caretaker and especially as a spouse of someone who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So that should be out, I want to say February, maybe.
Awesome. Now, currently, how many books are you representing and how many do you have in the pipeline for release?
Okay, so now I got to remember. I think we have 18 active titles right now. And and that's as of today. And between today through December 31st of 2020, I want to say we have 9 more books coming out, because nothing like being busy. Our goal, it was funny when we first started, we're like, let's do like, I don't know, like a book a month. Yeah, that'll keep us busy. Now we do honestly about 1 book every 7 days, 7 to 10 days. I mean, they are flying. And so, yeah, there you go. And then, and I forget, so I think right now it's 7 authors with 18 books. And then it'll be 10 authors with 27 books. Is that right? Okay, I'm remembering all these numbers. She's got the answers. I totally did. So yeah, that's why she's nodding over there, because she's got the answers. But yeah, the first quarter of 2021, we have 19 more books coming out in 3 months. That's 12 weeks,
Wow.
19 books, holy monkeys. And that'll have all of our authors. Actually, Alicia might have hers coming out right at the beginning of April. She's putting out a new craft book. She has a volunteer program that she does. She's founded an international volunteering program that actually the link is on the footer on the Fox Point website. But she's putting out a craft book that families and kids can do to get the creative artistic juices running, but then also have that go towards the greater community good that benefits other people, and it could be internationally. So that is quite an undertaking project. I mean, you think about the different art books and craft books that you see at like Joann's or Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're putting together. So it's quite an undertaking. So yeah. But Alicia is
Awesome.
fabulous. I've known her for a few years, and she's an awesome person.
So, what social media platforms do you require your signed authors to be on?
I heavily and strongly suggest that people should be on them, because along with building your brand, you're building your audience, you're building your followers. It doesn't hurt. And for the fact that social media to this point is free, oh my gosh, it's free. It's free advertising. That's a big thing. But if people either don't have the time, don't think they can keep up with it, because it really does take time and discipline, because you have to build your audience. And once you have an audience, you have to engage with them. The world is a fickle place, and if you're not constantly on it, I mean, you understand. You do a fabulous job with Writer's Journey. But I mean, if you just were like collected people and then disappeared, people would be like, yeah, whatever, and they disappear, and then there you go. Yeah, so for a few people that don't have the time or the energy or the interest or whatever, I'll just default everything back to our Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, or I think those, I have LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Maybe those are the only four. Yeah, those are the only four. And then I got the YouTube channel and stuff. I haven't figured out Snapchat and all the rest, but I don't have time.
What is Scram?
Instagram?
Did you say Scram?
Oh, no, Instagram.
Okay. Another new one.
It's called Scram. Get out of here. That's probably not a good marketing.
Well, I know they have other social medias out there that people are starting to wander away from Facebook to go to. Whether they're going to take off or not, I don't know. Facebook's been tried and true for a while, so I have no intention of leaving it anytime soon. So,
Yeah.
but everybody has their own right to do what they feel they need to do. So, have
Mhm.
you ever thought about once an author starts selling books and doing whatever, hiring a PA to do their social media, or do you?
Oh, I've thought about it. Trust me. Yeah, oh my gosh. That's part of the fun of being a business owner where, oh my gosh, the need is there. You could do it. But then when you realize that people that come on need money, they like to be paid, then you're like, well. So yeah, that's why we do enough group advertising, and me personally being the publicity person, with all the different pages that we're on, different format or the different platforms, the social media platforms. Half my day is just, and I look at it from the point of it benefits everyone. If the author is selling books and we're helping them sell books, they're happy, everyone's making money, yay. So I get on at the beginning of the day, or actually random parts of the day, and I'll just grab, like yesterday was Thea, and I just posted Thea absolutely everywhere, and it's got the buy links and it's got pictures of her books, and yeah, I just randomly pick an author of the day, and I go through there. Plus we do enough group advertising as well. Everyone gets a lot of advertising, but yeah, for the authors who are willing to put in the time, if they want to hire their teenager or whatever on their own dime. But yes, eventually, yeah, oh my gosh, I could easily use a social media manager. And I actually had one of my kids, and I was paying him, apparently not enough. No, I was paying him, but he's like, Mom, there's so much work to this. And he was 17 at the time. I'm like, yeah, but isn't that what teenagers do? They're on the social media all the time. What's wrong with you? And he's like, but I don't have time. I'm like, what? So he dumped the job back on my lap and, and ran away. So,
Teenagers.
Anyway. Mm-hmm.
So, what do you do to market new releases?
Oh boy, oh boy. All right. Well, I will point out first of all, when you guys all read the stuff that she is going to link to this interview on Facebook or wherever else, there's a link to IBPA Online Magazine. You'd want to click on that, and then you'd also want to click on the link for promoting that's off my webpage, because really that's my playbook. But okay, marketing a new release. Here we go. Sit down, put your feet up. Here we go. This is my area. Huh?
I just put my feet up.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Yeah, get comfy. Okay, marketing a new book starts way before the book even shows up in your hands. First of all, you need to, let me back up. People buy most often when they like the person that's selling. Okay, I mean, if you think about it, if you have some fast talking, whatever, over here trying to sell you a coffee mug, but then you got grandma over here going, would you like some coffee? More than likely, you're going to go with grandma and tip her on the top and give her a big hug and take the coffee and, kick the other guy out the door. So the psychology of selling, most people will buy from a person if they like the person. So first, we're going to make sure that people know the author, they like the author is relatable, the author is just like you, me, and everyone else. Like I was saying with those opinions of whether something is marketable or not, people gravitate towards people who are like them. They appreciate that. There's a certain sense of being comfortable with that. Once we have the person out there and we're creating their brand and we're creating their following and we're getting them out there and they're participating in the co-op advertising, and even if it's just with a book cover, people are starting to know that, oh, that person has this really interesting book coming out. That looks interesting. And we throw up some teasers and whatever. I mean, it's like for an author that we picked up in July, we have got her up to about 3,500 followers across her social platforms, plus all of the followers that we have. We're up to around 74,000. And, but people are starting to, she said, actually I think it was probably about the beginning of October, she's like, she went for a physical, actually at the hospital. I'm like, okay, you're brave. But yeah, she said she walked in there. The receptionist was like, oh, hey, I saw your stuff on Facebook. And her doctor's like, I hear through the grapevine you've got books coming out. I mean, so she's like, people know who I am. I'm like, good, and capitalize on that. The unfortunate part, though, is if people start knowing who you are, you have to behave yourself in public. So, that's why I never leave my house and I don't have to be in public. I'm kidding. Well, not really. Anyway, but marketing a new release starts with months in advance, marketing the author, getting their brand, getting them out there. Then we start when it gets closer to wrapping up the editing in there, middle to end of editing. Then we start in with press releases and possibly doing radio interviews and plus, okay, so we have magazine ads coming out in a couple of different periodicals, mainly around the Midwest region right now. Some of those books have not even gotten through their editing yet, but they're book covers. So I'm usually the person jumping up and down on the sideline going, give me a on it all over the world. So they're part of the co-op advertising that's going out there and such. So their book covers are out there. We put teasers out there. We've got them on interviews. By the time, and then about 6 to 8 sales. So right now, for example, coming into the holidays, I've got authors who are selling their books. They're upwards of 50 plus to 100 books right now. Their book isn't out until February, March. And the only reason, and now it's really early now compared to February, March, but we're trying to get a hold of that holiday sale. And so with the pre-orders, but yeah, we had Superhero Joey comes out here in about 2-3 weeks. It's a book geared towards the 4 to 8-year-olds for children that have epilepsy, and explaining to other children what's going on with an epileptic seizure, that kind of thing. And it's good for classrooms, and the Epilepsy Foundation, we've already contacted, they're interested in it, that kind of thing. Oh, and that points out one other thing, but she at, in September, she had already sold something like, I don't know, 25, 30 books. It hadn't even started illustrating yet. But she listened to me and I said, tell everyone on the planet that you got this book coming out, start accepting sales, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, and I was going to say something. See, that's how fast it goes. Oh, darn it. I was going to tell you something important. It'll come to me eventually. I'll call you at 3 a.m. when it does. But yeah, so once your book comes out, you've already got lots of book sales. And I will point out with our authors, we offer retail and wholesale through the website and any events. And there's something special I'm doing with my authors in this whole COVID thing with events. And then direct your sphere of influence. I mean, if you've got a big family and a whole network of friends that want to support you, oh my gosh, by all means, sell your book over your kitchen table. I will give you the total amount plus the state tax plus the shipping. I'll tell you exactly what you need to charge. Please do it. Thea, that was Thea Day yesterday when all the marketing thing I was doing for her book is Mousedropping. And she only had the proof in her hand at the, oh, let's see, it came out in August. She had the proof in her hand last week of July or whatever. Over that 3-day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, from her kitchen table, she sold $3,400 of books. She put in her pocket $2,300. It took her 3 weeks to sign all the books. And I am all for it. I am all for it. And actually, Carrie, you are muted if you know that yet. Okay. All right. And, but, oh, one thing I was going to say about events with COVID, the big part of being able to go out and make personal connections with people, again, people like people that they can relate to, etc. COVID has not allowed us to go out to book fairs and festivals and literary events and arts and crafts shows and all the rest of that. So what I've been doing with my authors is any magazine run ads that we've got coming on and any virtual book events. Everything for a 10% show discount goes into FoxPoint, and anything that comes through there, they get if it's a $20 sale, we take a $3 per book transaction fee because we're charged fees for shopping carts and Stripe and PayPal and all the rest of it. And then the $17 goes to the author. So rather than taking the lion's share and only giving them $2 for the book, after each of these, we flipped it around and we give them, 17 times however many books they sell for that event. And then they fulfill it. They pick up, they buy their inventories, they fulfill it. And a lot of those books want to have autographs so they can sign them, because not all of my authors live in the same town I live in. So we try to make it, again, happy people are much better than unhappy people. But there was an important thing I was going to tell you, and it just went out the door. So anyhow,
It'll come back.
Yeah, it will.
On an average, what is your marketing budget per book, roughly? And I'm sure it's different from picture books to adult fiction.
Yeah. I average, okay, well, being that I'm just a crazy publicity marketing, get everyone out to know about it. I mean, it just it courses through my veins. I mean, I can feel it. And people are behind me with the calculators going, no, wait, get back here. Minimum, you're going to figure about 3,000-ish. And that's really minimum. Average is probably about 5 or 6. And I'm not talking about, one day or 1 week or 1 month. I'm talking about like the 6 months coming up to and the 6 months following. So a year for the life of the pounding marketing advertising. So probably 5 or 6 thousand, 7,500. And then, I mean, the high end of it, the sky's the limit of what you can do. Um, Fortunately, I know enough people and I'm networked pretty well over everything I've ever done. And I know what's a scam and what's not a scam. Yeah, that I can put together some really good, we do a lot of co-op advertising. And so you get more buying power. And if I can finagle a good deal, and then a lot of us come in on it, it's cheaper than if one person did it on the very low end of things. So um, yeah, I work for the authors that we represent. I work to make sure that they are not being scammed, that they're putting money in their pocket, and we're doing the best type of advertising for the feasibility rating on it. I mean, is it worth it? And the min-maxing, finding the sweet spot on things.
So do you periodically market your books that have been out for, say, 6 months or a year or longer, or is most your marketing just on your new releases?
Oh no, no. I market. It doesn't matter when a book comes out, and I think I put it in there. People are still reading Shakespeare, and those books aren't going away, and they're still around. And there's always a new audience coming. I mean, when I put together like jelly beans, for example, um, I advertise it for the 0 to 6 year old crowd, although I have a lot of adults who like it too. But the fun thing, if you think about it with kids' books, is people keep procreating. They're constantly making audiences. I would be a fool to not continually market our children's books. And that's the same for the readers. I mean, there's constantly a new market coming. The beginning chapter readers go to the YA to fiction, and keep advertising. And I mean, really, once you've got it going, why would you stop? You know? So yeah, one thing I do with that helps, that actually makes it a lot easier, is if you look up like Helen or Carmen or myself or AJ, Paula, I have my designing department put together social media banners and on their web pages and stuff that has all their books, all their book covers on there. And so even if it's like a new book is coming out or whatever, also the author of blah 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 blah. I mean, I make sure. And matter of fact, Helen is interesting. She came on with us back in March of this year, and her first book came out the end of June, pretty much end of June through the middle of December. So 6 months, she is putting out 6 books, and for kind of a joke, but still a marketing thing. Hashtag the Helen Holder collection. And I put that out on email blasts. I do an email blast probably once every 10 days, out to right now 4,300 book buyers nationwide. And people, her hashtag doesn't trend virally, but I mean, you look up hashtag the Helen Holder collection and you'll see everything, and you'll see her signing books, and you'll see videos of her doing readings and whatever the case may be. And I include it in the newsletters and all that. And I've had people, bookstores, Massachusetts, California, Florida, etc. Tell us more about the Helen Holder collection. I mean, it sticks in people's minds. And I'm like, let me tell you. So yeah, no, if you have a book out, just keep advertising the snot out of it. It would not make sense to not. Yeah.
So, in a way, it's kind of like us as writers when we're looking for a publisher or an agent, that hook, you also need to have the hook for the buyers.
Oh yeah. Mhm. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. put it this way, none of us would be here if no one was buying books. And the only way they're going to learn about the books if we let them know about the books. And again, it's a constant regeneration of, every year, every day, there's a new someone might be walking through or surfing the internet or whatever, and they're like, oh, this looks interesting. Well, I've never really read a mystery or a thriller before, but this kind of looks fun. Right there, if you hook it, now you have a new mystery thriller reader that has always read romances. So yeah, you'd be a fool not to keep advertising it. So
Well, and how many of us out there buy a book and read it, fall in love with it, and what's the first thing we do? What else did this author write?
you got it. Yep. So in all of our books too, the last page is also written by this author. Oh yeah. I mean, mhm. And on social media and on their web pages and any interviews they do. And oh yeah.
So, how is Fox Point Publishing dealing with the COVID restrictions? I know you touched on it just a little bit, but reality is reality, right?
Yeah. Isn't it though? Nothing like starting a business and then having a pandemic hit. Good fun. Um, in 2019, myself as an author in 2019, out of the 52 weeks, of those 52 weeks, 49 weeks, I was somewhere at a literary event, a book festival, meet and greet, whatever the case may be. So, being that I was going to take all of my experience, both in the office and out in the field, and share it with all of the authors that jumped on with us, my plan of booking all these people for story times and meet and greets and festivals and all of a sudden just got lopped off right at the knees. And I'm like, ha! So, yeah, much like you, I do a lot of interviews. At the beginning of the summer, we were doing spring, summer, we were doing the Facebook interviews and the Zoom and getting it onto YouTube and such. In the last couple of weeks, I've been doing Instagram Live. And then actually, we're going to go back to Facebook Live, this kind of format again here towards Christmas. And boy, what else? We're just getting creative. Thankfully, there's social media. I'll tell you that much. But the virtual book events we've been doing, and that is, like I said, to give our authors the quasi feeling of doing an event. We're running the sales through and giving them the lion's share of the income so they can sign the books at home and get them shipped out, kind of thing. I will also point out one thing that does have Fox Point stand out is a lot, and this just confused the heck out of my printer. A lot of publishers will get the book from the printer. So if it's like a $3 book wholesale print cost from the printer, they'll get the book, then they tack on another $2 or $3 and then sell it to the author. That's just a bunch of monkey business. All of my authors order their books directly from the printer, which just messed up the printer back in, it was with Helen's first book, David's Pretzels, part of the Helen Holder collection. Helen had ordered books and through me actually at the time. And so I relayed it onto the printer. And so she called me and said, well, what email do you want me to send Helen's invoice to? I'm like, well, send it to author Helen Holder at Gmail. She goes, well, no, these are Helen's books. I'm like, yes, and Helen's going to pay for them. So send her the invoice. And my printer's like, no. I'm supposed to send it to you and then you put a price on it. And then I'm like, I don't have time for that. Just no. I got things to do. So right now as it is, and yeah, I have not run into anyone else. My authors order straight from the printer. And so if it's a $3 book and they want 50 of them, they're only going to spend 150 plus shipping straight from the printer, and they make more money rather than me being the go-between. And yes, I could make more money, and I understand that, and I'm not missing that point. However, I am also here to help the authors, and they need to make money. And again, it goes back to what Jason said, one of our authors, that I put Fox Point together as an author for authors. So yeah, but that's what they'll do is I'll give them, if it's a $20 book, I take the $3 transaction fee off. I give them $17. They order their $3 book and they make $14 minus all the different little shipping fees. But, there you go.
Awesome. Now, do you, we've already talked a little bit about this, that you do have your own illustrators, but are you okay with picture books that are already illustrated or that come in with an author that has already gone in writing this or has already had it illustrated, or do you prefer your own illustrations, or depending on how well you think they fit your criteria, how do you handle that?
Yep. All right. Yeah, we have had other people bring in. Okay, so like Monster Dog. That is Katie Hunterdose. She is a freelance artist. Carmen brings in her own illustrator. Paula, for any of her poetry or her cookbooks, she brings in Peggy McDowell. And again, own illustrator. But recently I've also been referring business to Peggy as well. So I'm going to eventually get her in the fold. No, I'm kidding. Peggy's going to be watching this like, what? But anyway, yeah, I have no problem if you've got your own illustrator, but we're going to make sure that it's up and up and up. Back to our persnickety boutique way of doing things. It's got to be up. There's standards. We're gonna be picky. Most often, though, people are bringing in perfectly good stuff, and yeah, okay. So the difference is, if it was a vanity press, they'd slap their name on whatever and send it out the door. We are not that. If it's not up to par, it's either going to be fixed or it's going to be changed or it's going to be something, because we are not going to stick Fox Point Publishing on it and throw it out the door. We're picky. Just the way that goes.
And I assume you get the fun part of telling them, yeah, it's not going to work. How about we try it this way?
And it's in the contract too. Yeah, they are more than welcome to bring in their own illustrator. That's fine, but we're going to sign off of it. And we're all going to have a mind meld understanding about how this is going to go. And there you have it. Yeah. So
now, how do you know that a book is successful, or what kind of benchmark should a writer look at, or is there even a benchmark?
Yeah, it varies per person. I know my answer on this was all over the place. Everyone's got a different point of view, a different way of measuring success. I think for me, what it was, obviously everyone wants to make money and sell lots of books. Yay. Okay, so that aside, my Corner Confession series, when the reviews started coming in on it, I had people like getting mad at my fictional characters. Now, the interesting part, okay, so like, here, let me find them here. Corner Confessions, it's a coffee shop, and the confessions are with this unknown person in the back corner, so Corner Confessions. The coffee shop owner is a fictional character. His name is Tom. I had readers just up and roar about how nosy Nancy he was, and he should keep I'm like, wow. So I'm thinking to myself, I wrote a pretty good character, because oh my gosh, the reviews. What is wrong with Tom? Oh my gosh, keep his nose out. Like, yay. And then actually on this one, there's a chapter entitled Frank on this one. This is part 2 of the Corner Confession series. There are 2 characters in Frank. One is Frank, one is TJ. And I had a lot of my beta readers and stuff going, I'd be more interested in hearing more about Frank and whatever. And I said, Frank is fictional. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, for me, that's a success because I'm drawing them in. You know, they're sitting in that coffee shop with me, listening to these confessions. I mean, they're just wrapped up in it. So that's a success for me. Um, but yeah, I mean, so aside from money and we're all going to sell lots of books and we're going to be famous and yada yada, that set aside for an author, I think they would, or at least from my point of view, when you take people in, from a publicist point of view, I want everybody to know about it. Everyone on this planet, anyone orbiting the planet, anyone anyone on different planets should know about it. That's my success. And the best part of it is when people like Lydia, for example, tells me, boy, I can't go anywhere in town without people knowing who I am. And, you know, Carmen with her Monster Dog books lives like a rock star life in her town, you know, and um, people are getting, I'm doing my job basically as a publicist. If people are, they start matching the author with the books and they appreciate it and all that. So that's my version of success from a publicist point of view. I think a reader's point of view for a successful book is one, it loops them in. Two, they can't put it down. Three, they have to get up early in the morning, but they can't put the book down. Oh my gosh, I can survive on 45 minutes of sleep. I've got Visine drops. We're good. I mean, that's a successful book, you know? Yeah, so it varies. It depends, you know, and everyone is so, you know, accustomed to saying or programmed to say, well, success is if I make lots of money. Well, okay, that's a blanket, you know. We all need money. There you go. Put that aside. What makes the book successful to you? And then you get down to the deep. And that's, it varies.
So then I'm assuming my other question was average numbers an author can hope to sell, the cost, and how
Oh,
long to make back their investment is kind of a tough one. But on an average, if somebody went with your book, say a YA book, and it's a first time author,
okay.
how long on an average or how many books would they need to sell to make back the investment that the publishing company makes back roughly?
Okay. And this, and I just remembered what I was going to say on another thing that'll lead into this thing. With marketing a book, okay, going back to that, with marketing a book, you need to know who your audience is, who's your demographic, especially if you have a certain niche like YA. You're not going to put your YA book in front of someone who wants to read, you know, historical nonfiction, or they don't even read yet and they need a picture book. So YA is your niche. So that is the first part of knowing, you know, understanding how you're going to get your money back. Um, Now, typically in a non-pandemic world, I will make that clarified right there. In a non-pandemic world, you would probably have your money back, probably half back by the time the book comes out, and completely back, or darn close to completely back, your initial investment. Because if you continually call the printer and keep ordering 100 books and shipping them, I mean, you're adding to your investment. But of course, if you're buying books, you should have the turnaround that you've already got the sales and the money in. So I mean, it's a constant, you know, thing. But you should be able to recoup your initial investment back within 6 to 9 months, for sure, a year. But again, you're doing targeted marketing to your targeted group. You've already got sales coming in, you know, like Thea with Mouse Draken. She pulled 3,400 in over her kitchen counter in 3 days. Not bad. She sold over 200 books. Again, not bad. And I will point out, if you listen to me and you do what, again, 35 years of sales, I know what I'm talking about. And it's not that it's going to always work, but you had mentioned you've been in sales before, right? So it's really pick it up, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks, play numbers, shell games. I mean, you just go into this crazy, oh my gosh. And so the publicity in me, and like I said, it courses through my veins, how can we get this out to everyone in the galaxy, And that's what you need to do. But now if your YA is your niche, now you have to hit up everyone in that age demographic. And how do you get a hold of them? And okay, maybe you are going to get on Snapchat and you're going to do Instagram Live, and you're going to get a hold of the school districts, and you're going to get a hold of the YA acquisition librarians. And how do you get that? And you've got to target to that audience, because that's where the money is. Now, if those kids like what you've got coming at them, they're going to go ask mom and dad, hey, I really want this book, or my friend's been talking about this book, or whatever the case may be. That's how you sell it. And you've got, a good third to half of your recouped sales back by the time the book even comes out. You fulfill those orders and you keep going, steam ahead. Now, that is in the non-pandemic world. There's going to be a little more time probably. The fact that we can't go out and do in-person events, that is a real killer. It really is. Because again, people buy from people they've met, that they like, that they share a laugh with, that they get, that they have something in common with. But if I'm just a person over here talking to a mass of an audience out on the other side of my computer screen, I try to be as congenial as possible, but and then of course the other thing too is authors don't understand this. I don't think a lot of people understand this, that when you have an idea or whatever, oh, that's so great, and it's supporting and whatever. And as soon as you show up to the door and you're like, okay, here's my book that you said you were really interested in. Now here's the book. So it's $19.95. Okay, I'll take the 20, please. They close the door because now you're a salesperson and you're scary and they don't want to get duped. And they don't recall telling you, 5 months ago that they were really excited about your book. And you're standing on the doorstep going, but just 5 months ago, you told me you were going to buy my book and you supported me. And yeah, so, and that actually happened with this book from Carmen is actually an Alzheimer's book written for children through the eyes of the family dog. And one of a larger Alzheimer's group, and I won't name who, but this lady amused Carmen on the phone for about 5-10 minutes one day. And Carmen, at the age of 86 then, had her hopes up that this person was going to pick up her book and she was going to make lots of money and it was going to be great. And then when the book came out, this person was like, who? And I was telling Carmen, I said, look, I don't want to be mean, but here's how you were perceived. Okay, first of all, this person that you miraculously got through to, which is impressive, because I mean, even Santa Claus probably wouldn't be able to get through to this person. But you were patched in on her phone. She took a 5-10 minute coffee break, looked out the window of her high rise in Chicago, and placated the sweet old 86-year-old woman who had a cute dog book. Oh, sure, this looks great. Definitely send me a copy. And of course, like I said earlier, they're willing to take the book and then totally forget you even exist. But send us a copy and that'd be great. And sure, we'd love to have you involved in whatever. And then in October, when the book was ready to go, it was who? With the dog book. And Carmen just, it was sad. It was sad. She couldn't believe, because she had connected with this person. I said, no, you didn't. And the sad part of it is now you're coming across as a salesperson, because now you have a product that you want them to buy, and all of a sudden they get real stupid. So Yeah, I don't know how I got on that story, but there you go. That's one of the hard truths about selling. And yeah, so it really helps to be in person. That's I think where it was. But yeah, to be in person at these events so people know that there's a story and there's a person and a real person behind it. And you can't do that with the whole COVID monkey business. Oh my gosh, I can't wait till a vaccine is found. But yeah, so I'm going to say it'd probably be an extra, I don't know, 3, 4 to 6 months before you recoup your initial investment. But boy, I tell you, and it's in my best interest too, I am going to fight to make sure we can find as many marketing and as much marketing, reasonable marketing, and buyers and get you out there, because still in the realm of publicity, my job is to build you, your brand, get your book out there,